We're going to see how we do with this one, man, because we got the Fastlane pay-per-view that's supposed to be coming on at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see how good we are in pumping this out real quick. I told you guys we were doing a double fucking whammy today, yo. Oh, man. I haven't had it this fun in a good minute, man. I'm telling you that right now. I haven't had it this good in a minute. This good, this fun. All right, we're going to go live in about 60 seconds officially. That's when we're going to start the show. Let's see here. Just real quick. Just want to swap in some stuff here. Swap in some images. All right. Put that right there. Let's move that right here. That's good. Yep, that's good. Let's see here. Swap out thumbnails. Okay, that's good. All right, that's ready to go. All right, so we got that. All that's good to go. Okay. I got the chat loaded up. Okay. You're still saving. All right, let's do it.
Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Checking out a special Sunday night edition of the RCWR Show. Coming at you Sunday on March 21st, 2021. A couple of minutes removed from NWA's Back for the Attack pay-per-view event, exclusively seen on Fight TV, as that is NWA's new partner going forward, pretty much for all things NWA. In case you had missed that memo, that's the go-to place now, Fight TV. That's where you're also going to be able to watch new episodes of NWA Powerrr beginning this Tuesday. So if you haven't looked into that Fight TV subscription yet for the NWA, you might want to get on that right now. Shout out to those of you I was interacting with earlier, but apparently as far as the price goes, apparently $5 a month gets you pretty much all the access to all things NWA Powerrr. But the pay-per-view itself, that's an entirely different tier price and all that good jazz. Look, if you had the $20 to spare, this was actually an okay pay-per-view to check out overall. And you really owe it to yourselves to go out of the way, especially if you're looking for a little bit of variety and everything. You really owe it to yourselves, especially since it's only $20 to go out of your way and check out the pay-per-view. But I can't stress it enough, especially for those of you that want a little bit more variety when it comes to your wrestling. Maybe you're on that fence where you're a little bit tired of what WWE is giving you. You might be a little bit tired of what AEW is giving you, or insert whatever the promotion is, or maybe you're just not tired. You're just one of those fans. You like your variety. Maybe you were a little bit on the fence about this pay-per-view overall, and you got $20 to spare. I say go out of your way, check it out. I want to know what you guys thought about NWA's pay-per-view. I have two polls that's up right now. One is on Twitter at the RCWR Show. Give me a follow over there while you're at it. We also have a poll over on YouTube at youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab and you can sound off that way. I'll get to what you all said on the communities tab of YouTube in a hot second. But for those of you on Twitter, I'm seeing right now that we have 25% of you that are staying in the middle for this pay-per-view. Meanwhile, 75% of you are giving tonight's Back for the Attack a thumbs up. So, let me know what you think. Again, still early, but we'll circle on back towards the end of the show. So the goal right now is to have this be the quickest pay-per-view recap and review that we could possibly do, because it's 6:12 p.m. Eastern right now, and we have another pay-per-view that's going to be coming on in a hot second. Give me a second here. That's good stuff. We got another wrestling pay-per-view that's going to be coming on at the top of the hour, WWE's Fastlane. And Lord, there's no telling how long that pay-per-view is going to be. I'm hoping that we are pretty much going to be in and out for this pay-per-view tonight, but we'll see. We'll see. You know how WWE likes to do it, man. WWE likes to reel you in there for about 3 hours and everything, so we'll see how that goes. But let's see what we can do. We're going to try to make this be as quick as possible. Look, what would be a success is if we could be done with this pay-per-view recap and review before 6:45, so I don't see why that wouldn't even be possible. Yeah, so let's go ahead, let's jump right into this. Look, I'm excited that the NWA promotion is back. You had a lot of rumors that were going on there in late 2021. NWA is no more. Billy Corgan is into now. He knows that the NWA, for them, it's over. You saw them do that Patreon stuff with Carneyland and everything, and I thought it was nice and everything, but for me, was it kind of innovative to a certain degree? It was, but I'm sure I speak for myself and a majority of the fans. It just wasn't the same. We wanted our NWA Powerrr. We wanted our NWA pay-per-views and all that. And I tell you what, it was most interesting reading the comments that Ricky Starks had to make about that whole ordeal with regards to doing Carneyland and all that. If you didn't check out the recent interview he did, check it out, because he pretty much was being totally honest. I didn't take what he had to say about his time in NWA and how things came to be for him signing with AEW. I didn't take what he said about NWA as shots, taking little jabs. I didn't take it that way at all. I just looked at it as him just being totally honest, not having to worry about biting his tongue and minding his peace. He was being professional, yet at the same time being totally blunt about his tenure there and everything. But I didn't particularly care about Carneyland. I wanted my goddamn NWA action back. And so, it took him a while. It really did. It took them a while to figure things out, iron some stuff out. They lost a few great pieces of talent along the way, but with what they did tonight for their first event in this new calendar year, I thought that they were off to a great start. Your commentating team, I wonder if this is permanent, but you got Joe Galli and Tim Storm. They were your commentators for this pay-per-view event. We had a little bit of audio issues at the very beginning. I would say audio issues went about maybe I would say almost 10 minutes. Almost 10 minutes. You could barely hear Joe and Tim when they first came in. You could barely hear the ring announcer, but they pretty much had got all of it fixed within about 10 minutes, give or take. But I'll say this. I love the team of Joe Galli and Tim Storm. If this is going to be a regular thing for these two, I'm down with it. Of course, major blow that NWA was dealt when Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett, had jumped from NWA to WWE. But, look, Tim Storm, he fits that role perfectly. And look, personally, I would love to see Tim Storm wrestle on a few occasions here and there. But, if it's not to be, then it's not to be. But Tim, Joe, I'm actually okay with that. They're actually a pretty good team. First matchup of the evening, Jack's Stand taking on Slice Boogie, Jordan Clearwater, Crimson. This was a fatal four-way match that went down, and the rules for this matchup was actually pretty damn simple. This was not an elimination matchup whatsoever. This pretty much was a first man to pick up the pinfall or the submission. They would be the winner for this event. Just straight up. That's how it was. And I actually didn't mind it, that it had went down that way. Now, a face that I haven't seen in a good minute, Crimson. Some of you all that have been following the Impact Wrestling product for a good number of years and everything, you're definitely familiar with Crimson. You also know about the tag team that Crimson and Jax had going on there for a hot little bit. So you kind of got a little bit of familiarity there. But also, you got your man there in, who is it I'm thinking of? Clearwater, the Jordan Clearwater guy. He's been doing his thing down in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Slice Boogie, somewhat of a relatively newcomer. But when I look at Slice Boogie, you know who Slice Boogie reminds me a lot of? I'll give you, I would say, I'll give you a little hint. I can give you a hint, actually. He reminds me a lot of somebody that is in the AEW right now. And he recently came to the aid of a former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. If you guys had said, oh, easy, Eddie Kingston, you are correct. I mean, there's a lot in there of Eddie Kingston that I see in Boogie Jordan. Very promising when it's all said and done. Very, very promising. Good opener of a matchup, really setting the tone. I personally felt, by the way, as far as grand total matches we had on the card for this evening, we had a total of 6 matches. And man, did time fly by quick. This pay-per-view came on promptly at 4. I would say the pay-per-view went off just a couple of minutes after 6. Because I actually could have been doing the post show a lot sooner, but if y'all are familiar with the NWA pay-per-views, normally they'll fade to black for about 90 seconds and then they'll come back on. And there's usually a post show that they do. They'll interview some of the key winners and they'll pretty much set some stuff up going into NWA Powerrr and everything. As far as I know, they did not do that. They went black for about 90 seconds. They came back on. We pretty much had the roster in the ring, and Aaron Stevens was saying a couple of things, and then it went to black again. It did not come back on. So if it did come back, I'll have to rely on you guys to give me the skinny and everybody else the skinny on what all we had missed. But a great opener of a matchup there between Jack Stan, Slice Boogie, Jordan Clearwater, Crimson. Slice Boogie picking up the W, winning with that nice move of his. I got to say, I like the name of that maneuver, by the way. He's calling it the dead-ass driver. He connected with the dead-ass driver on Clearwater. I am sold on a name for a signature or a finisher. When you have the right kind of name for a signature or a finisher and it's with the right guy, that can go a long, long ways, let me tell you. And for a guy like Slice Boogie, and just, I mean, you can look at that 2 ways. You can just keep on calling it. You can just keep on calling it the dead ass driver, or you can just go and say, oh, it's the DAD. I mean, either way, it's fucking cool. It just rolls off the tongue. It's also pretty memorable. And just visually, when you see what this guy is doing, it's fucking insane, man. Fucking insane. It was a great opener. It was a great opener. But I got to say, I'm quickly becoming a fan there of Slice Boogie. I mean, he's the one that jumps out to me the most, that looks very, very promising. I can't stress that enough. Crimson looked pretty good too. Not for nothing, but the last little bit that I remember of Crimson, a lot of promise. Crimson had a lot of promise, but I'm remembering more of his time in Impact Wrestling. And he looked very, very promising, but I just felt that he needed more seasoning. And he kind of comes off as if he's been getting that seasoning since he's been able to wrestle for other promotions overseas and everything. So I'm actually quite impressed with how far along he's come. Definitely very proud of how far along he's come. Let's go to our next matchup, though. I don't really have too much else to say about the rest of those guys for that first matchup. May Valentine, backstage. She was backstage all throughout. Now, this is somebody that's actually relatively new to me since the last go round I was checking out NWA. So, she's okay for a backstage interviewer. She seemed a little bit nervous there. I mean, it gets the best of us, right? Gets the best of us sometimes. But we saw Mae Valentine throughout the night. She was interviewing Sal Renaro. She also interviewed Aaron Stevens. I want to say at one point she interviewed Nick Adonis. Matter of fact, she did. She did interview Nick Adonis. I'm actually pretty sure she had spoke with him at the very beginning for Back for the Attack, as soon as the event had opened up and everything. Second matchup of the night, Kratos taking on the debuting Tyrus, aka Brodus Clay from the WWE. As we know nowadays, you can pretty much catch that guy doing his thing on Fox News and Friends or whatever he's calling. This one, I'm a little bit puzzled by NWA doing business with him. And I'll explain to you the reason why, and I just want you guys to hear me out. Now, as I get ready to say all of this, obviously innocent until proven guilty. Definitely have to stress that. Definitely. But I was a little bit puzzled by NWA bringing Tyrus on board for the simple fact he's got that litigation that's going on with a former co-host of his. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the specifics. If you all don't know, your best bet is to do a Bing Google search, and you can pretty much get yourself caught up to speed that way. But there is a woman that pretty much had brought forth a lawsuit against him, Fox, and a couple of other people that's named in it. Heart of the matter is that she felt she was sexually harassed by Tyrus. And so as this is ongoing litigation, last I checked, nothing was dropped, nothing was dismissed. As far as I know, this didn't even go to trial and all that. From her side, through her respective representatives, you got the talk of, no, we got text messages that Brodus sent to her. I think maybe even some images in there as well. So considering all of that that's going on, I just am scratching my head kind of going, wow, I find it a little bit interesting that NWA had decided to go ahead and do business with Tyrus. It's, for me, a case of, do you really want to be under that type of a microscope, especially in this day and age right now where we're in this Me Too era movement and we have a lot more, not just females, but just victims in general, just putting gender to the side. You've got a lot of people in general that have been victims of some form of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, that are coming from the shadows and speaking their piece. And we just saw what went down there with Joey Ryan and everything. As far as I'm concerned, again, innocent until proven guilty. However, I don't blame anybody for making a bolder case that, well, no, Lee, of the two, the Joey Ryan is the more evil piece of shit than, but for me, it's almost kind of the way you need to approach it. Two sides of the same coin. Let's try to use caution here. But it is what it is. It's already in the books. They've already done their business with Tyrus. Your guess is as good as mine. If this was essentially a one-off event, or if there's going to be more things to come and everything. But, I mean, can we be honest with each other? Before this stuff had went down with this former co-host for Tyrus, we really didn't hear anything negative about the man. Really, we really didn't. So, you just to be continued, right? You got to wait until a little bit more information comes out. But for now, dealing with it as it was, the 48-year-old making his in-ring debut for the NWA promotion, thought it was okay. It was like, he fits the NWA mold pretty well. I personally think he definitely gives you that nice throwback vibe of a feel. Just him going in there and then pretty much, big powerhouse of a dude, brawler at the same time. I thought that his style and Kratos, I thought they gelled really damn well together. It felt like when I was watching their match in particular, it felt like I had went through a time machine and I essentially went back to maybe the late 80s or early 90s with what I was watching of these two. Pretty damn good outing. Tyrus, by the way, Tyrus calling himself now the Great American Smash. You heard me right. He's calling himself the Great American Smash, Tyrus. And when you look at the logo design and all that on his shirt, it's pretty badass. You're looking at it's definitely giving you that Great American Bash WCW pay-per-view vibe. No doubt about that. And it's pretty obvious he is the heel. Because right before he got into the ring for his match, he actually was interviewing. And I sadly did not catch the guy's name. But the guy, when you see him, and I'm sure for those of you that already saw the pay-per-view, you definitely would agree with me. This guy sounds and looks a lot like Adam Pearce. It's fucking hilarious. He looks a lot like him. And he was trying to get in a few words with Tyrus. And Tyrus said to him, wait a minute. So now you want to talk to me. I'm getting ready to do my thing in the ring. You interviewed a couple of people so far, but I'm making my NWA debut here. And you don't have enough common sense to interview me first before I handle my business in the ring. What's going on with that? I mean, that's just a total freaking disrespect, how you do me. But that's okay. I see how it is here. That's all right. I'm going to go do my thing in the ring. We're done here. So it's like, okay. All right. So he's the heel. Okay, cool. All right. Got that. Tyrus, Kratos, nice little good back and forth between both men. Like I said, it was kind of like watching two big bulls just pretty much go at it here. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy. This was nothing that was, technical, nothing over the top, just good, solid fucking brawling, that was going on in this one. Tyrus, victorious in his NWA debut. Look, I have no problem seeing more of what's to come for Tyrus in the NWA. I know some people are maybe questioning his age. A lot of people look at the age and I don't know what's going on, but it seems like that's a running gag that we got going on right now in wrestling. We got a lot of people that are being more and more vocal about age in wrestling. And, I'm like this. I don't need to be all long-winded, drawn out with it and everything. I'm like this. When it comes to age in wrestling, as far as I'm concerned, if you can still go physically, if you can still go and the people that you're facing in the ring, you compliment the hell out of them, you rise to the occasion, you make yourself look like $1 million, you make your opponent look like a fucking $1 million, then you know what? Hey, God bless you. If you're still able to go out there and perform at a level like you were able to do when you were in your 20s or when you were in your 30s, then God bless you. I say as long as physically good health is still on your side, you want to continue to jump out there and continue to do it, then go ahead. Keep doing your thing. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So that's just where I stand with that. Tyrus looked pretty damn good as far as I'm concerned. Was he in the best of shape? I would say so. I remember him being a lot bigger than what we saw of him in NWA tonight. So, he seems to have held up pretty good over the years there. So I'm actually okay. I'm actually okay with that. Closing moments, Tyrus went back to the arm of Kratos, sent Kratos into the corner, shoulder first, then sandwiched Kratos in the corner, hits with an elbow drop. And that's pretty much how he was able to pick up the dub there. Hey, how you guys enjoying the show so far, man? We only got about a couple of more matches to go. Have you guys been having a good time enjoying the show so far? You know what to do, man. I love it now that we pretty much got to a point. I don't need to be long and drawn out. All I got to do is just press one button, and this is all you got to do. Look at that. It's that easy. That's all you got to do. You hit the like. You hit the bell for the notifications. You make sure you subscribe. That way you don't miss out on all the great content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Third matchup of the night, Pope D'Angelo De Niro, my man, the Elijah Burke, taking on Tom Latimer for the NWA World Television Championship. First of all, I've always been a big fan of the Pope. One of the best talkers that's out there. One of the best showmen that's out there in professional wrestling. Oh, don't even get me started on his in-ring work. But I mean just personality alone. Personality alone. That guy is just fucking money. Money, man, money. So, you know, I've got a few dream matchups I personally would love to see the Pope have before he hangs it up for good. But I tell you what, man, Father Time has been very kind to the Pope. It's like my man found the fountain of youth because he has not aged for shit. He has not aged for shit. I am just simply amazed at that. If anything, it seems like he's getting better and better physically in time. Fucking righteous, man. I just take a step back and I'm like, man, how is it possible that a guy can still look exactly the same from like 20 fucking years ago? It's like there's a rare breed of wrestlers that's in that mode. You definitely got him. You got to put Shelton Benjamin on that list. You got to put Bobby Lashley on that list as well. I mean, great fucking fountains of youth, man. Great. This match, this was pretty simple. Even though this was a television title matchup, basically there was a certain amount of time that was put on the clock. And pretty much if that time was reached, you know, time expired basically, then match was pretty much over. And at that point, Pope would still walk away as the champion. Who wants a fucking finish like that, right? No, we want to see a damn good back and forth. Let's fucking go there. There was a couple of points there where it looked as though Latimer was maybe going to get it. Closing moments of this one, Latimer had took advantage of a power bomb as there was just about a minute left into the match. Goes for the cover, but Pope just barely managed to get his hand up on the rope to stop it. Pope then goes over the top in the corner, reverses into a destroyer. That was a nice sweet spot right there. Goes for the cover, only gets a 2 count. At this point, you got about 15 seconds left in the match. Pope and Latimer, during these final few seconds, they're just standing tall, going back and forth, trading blows with each other. Time runs out, sadly. Two men are still going at it as the referees come in there. They break it all up. So this match, as good as it was, good technical match too at its finest, I personally felt had a nice cross breed there of technical meet striking a little bit there for me. A little bit of striking, tiny bit of brawl, but heavy on the first two that I mentioned. Reached the time limit draw. Pope retained his title. Pope did not like that, though. The Pope was literally frustrated, visibly frustrated. You could see it on his face. This is not how he wanted the dub. For him, not only does he want to be a defending champion, but he doesn't want to settle on a fucking time limit draw. He wants to be able to go out and, I secured the W, whether it was by pinfall or submission. I got it this way, right? I got it the legit way and everything. But he didn't like it. He didn't like it whatsoever. Latimer, on the other hand, same deal. He didn't like the result as well. He leaves the ring visibly frustrated. So obviously, we got a built-in continuation here that's going to bleed into NWA Powerrr. And yeah, I'm okay with that. These two men continuing their feud on NWA Powerrr. I could totally see Latimer coming out and saying, hey, me and the Pope, we tore it up at Back for the Attack. Great match. Went to a time limit draw. I wasn't okay with that. I know Pope isn't okay with that. So how do we rectify this? I wouldn't be surprised if next go round you maybe have some type of a a match where, okay, time limit, draw was an enemy. Well, this go round, let's just go ahead and let's do a new, let's do a no DQ. You know, let's maybe do that next time. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what were to happen next go round. But good matchup. I mean, so far, you know, these first 3 matches really set the tone here. They were really, really good. Then we start hitting a little bit of a slippery slope once we get to Camille taking on Thunder Rosa. Remember, this was a singles match to determine the number 1 contender to the NWA's Women's Championship. All right, so here's where things get a little bit, to pull a quote from Quantum Leap's original intro during the first season, a little caca. First off, Thunder Rosa. When is Thunder Rosa not beautiful? Thunder Rosa is always beautiful, but there was just something about her on this pay-per-view that there was an extra glow about her that just made her look fucking extra simply beautiful. Can't take that away from her. Anything involving Thunder Rosa, she always makes that joint smell like fucking money. Always makes it smell like money. Where I had problems with this matchup, not from Thunder Rosa. As far as I'm concerned, Thunder Rosa did any and everything that she was supposed to be doing. Now, I'm not bitching. What I'm offering right now is criticism, constructive, and it's definitely constructive from the standpoint of I'm going to provide what I think ways of improvement just from what I saw here tonight. I need for Camille to do a better job in selling. That's her one enemy right now. I mean, those of us that are watching her, yeah, you know, is she a little bit green in some areas in that ring? Still, yes, without a shadow of doubt. Yes, without a shadow of doubt. I'm sure she would admit that she's still a little bit green in some areas as well. And, you know, not for nothing, but if you happen to follow Camille on social media, you know that she takes professional wrestling, she takes her health, her fitness, her bodybuilding. She takes all of that very, very seriously, without a doubt. But where she needs to improve her game big time is on the selling. Too many times in this matchup. And look, I'm a huge Camille fan. Huge Camille fan. I love that girl. I mean, that girl looks like, you know, I'm reminded a lot of China when I look at her. I mean, that's how much China Joni Lauer, I look at her and I see so much potential like that. And then some. There's a lot of great potential there. You know, and I don't like throwing China's name around like that. Very seldom will I throw that name, you know, because, you know, you can give me a girl like over in NXT, Raquel Gonzalez. And y'all could say, oh, that's the next China. You know, for me, it's like, no, that's not the next China. No. That's the next Raquel Gonzalez. You know, she is just doing her own thing. There's no comparison. She's literally doing her own thing. She's standing out in her own unique way. You know, but when I look at Camille, you know, I just see shades of Joni Lauer and she could eclipse that. There's so much potential that's there. Selling is part of her problem right now, just from the little bit of matches I've seen of her career so far. The selling. Got to work on the selling. Too many times in this matchup tonight against Thunder Rosa where there was a submission move applied, Camille isn't selling it. I'll give you a perfect example. At one point, there was a submission hold Rosa did where she pretty much was bending the hell out of Camille like a goddamn accordion. You know, I mean, literally, Camille's, you know, pretty much on her, you got her hands on the canvas. I mean, back, all that. I mean, serious arch, all that. Like, okay, you should be screaming right here. You should be, but she wasn't screaming. There were too many times where there was a submission hold and that was applied to her and she's not screaming. A couple of times there where Thunder Rosa was on the offense and she's putting in her good blows. She's getting in good shit. Camille isn't really selling it. She's got to work on that. Shout out to Mish. I think Mish said it best. Shout out to my buddy Mish. Mish from Wrestling Soup. He said it best. He said she acts as if she's never been hit before. And it's, and I'll see that point and I'll raise it. It's kind of like when I was watching Cobra Kai. I've been binging on Cobra Kai. I finally sat down last night with the missus and I started watching Cobra Kai. Right now, I'm on the third season of... No, correction. Right now, I'm on the third episode of season 2. And we did a nice little binge. We started like Friday night. We started watching WandaVision and Cobra Kai pretty much back to back. And I think WandaVision, we got up to the 5th episode. Yeah, Cobra Kai, we're up to season 2, episode 3. And there was one scene I remember from Cobra Kai that kind of resonated well with me when I was looking at what was going on there with Camille. I'm like, where's the balance? It's like find that balance, because without that balance, it's going to continue to be a little rocky. You Cobra Kai fans, you get that balance reference. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The other problem that I had with this matchup, this screamed AEW, give us a little bit of a nod. Because Thunder Rosa, the name is starting to really, really, let me put it to you this way. The Thunder Rosa name, the brand itself, one of the first things that comes to your mind is quality, excellence, great matches. Oh, I know anything involving this girl is going to be dope. All right, the name carries now. And I can't help but think back to the great match that she had with Britt Baker on Dynamite this week. Yeah, was it a spot fest here and there? Sure it was. Could you maybe make the argument that, man, those girls did so much in their main event. How the hell are the guys supposed to top what those girls did? Because now pretty much everything is going to be compared in the AEW universe. Everything is pretty much going to be compared to what those two girls did. I get that. I hear all of that. But for me, I want to simplify things. So let me see if I got this straight. So AEW has been doing their thing with NWA. They pretty much worked out a deal, doing some cool stuff there with Thunder Rosa. Also doing some stuff there with Serena Deeb and everything. And this was NWA's pay-per-view return. And you're telling me we couldn't do a little rollover from this past Wednesday's Dynamite and pretty much setting up Thunder Rosa versus Camille? That would have been a nice little incentive. Like, for me personally, just kind of going back and looking on it now, it probably would have made too much sense. But since we got this whole forbidden door that's going on, I would have totally been down with a mystery opponent that would have came in on Dynamite at some point, was given an assistance to Britt Baker. They could have been Max for all I care, and you have a nice little shocker as Dynamite is pretty much getting ready to go off the air. Person takes off their freaking hoodie, and it turns out it's Camille. Nice little setup there going into the NWA pay-per-view event. I mean, is that too much to ask for? I mean, I don't know. To each its own. But I kind of wish there was a little bit more of a nice little build up there going into it. The other problem that I had with this match, quite simple. So we have Camille go over against Thunder Rosa. I mean, first of all, Thunder Rosa in this matchup compared to Camille, it was like, and I hate to go with an animal reference, but it's just the first thing that comes into my mind, and it's not degrading or nor am I trying to be disrespectful in any type of way, but it was pretty much like a poodle taking on a Great Dane. I mean, it was literally like that. It's like taking your bare fists into a gunfight. It was kind of like one of those type of deals. And you're going, man, how the hell is Thunder Rosa supposed to be able to hang toe to toe with this girl? But man, it came off believable in some aspects, although very exhausted, very lengthy, a bit overkill on the length of this match. This should have been trimmed by about maybe 10 minutes. Hell, some would maybe even make the argument maybe by about 15 minutes. I can agree that 10, 15 minutes of a trim you want to do. Yeah, I'm totally down with that. I totally get that. Camille, though, is your number one contender. She speared the shit out of Thunder Rosa not once, but twice to pretty much pick up the dub there. But Camille still got a little bit of work ahead of her, but she still is very, very promising in her wrestling career. Very, very promising. I saw chatter about in the Discord, because I was hanging out with folks in the Discord and everything, and there was chatter about, she's not a safe worker. No, she's a safe worker. She's limited with her experience thus far, and she'll get there in due time. I mean, look, not for nothing, guys, but if it wasn't for this pandemic, just to be devil's advocate, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I'm quite sure that a lot of these people, especially if they would have been given the opportunities to wrestle for other promotions, they take advantage. That's how you hone your craft and all that. When you have a fucking pandemic that's going on, it's a little hard to continue to perfect your craft when all the promotions are down. Is it not? I mean, that's great if you're able to wrestle your best friend or your significant other, that actually happens to be a pro wrestler, but there's only but so much you're going to be able to sponge off of them as far as that wrestling knowledge goes. The greatest knowledge that you can obtain is to actually go out there, go to those different promotions, wrestle those different opponents, and that's pretty much how you're not only building your resume, building up your brand, but that's how you grow overall as a performer, is it not? So, we kind of need to dial back a little bit on how we're giving criticism during this time, when we still got a lot of wrestling promotions that are trying to figure out, what's going on with us? How are we gonna conduct ourselves, with this whole pandemic going on and everything? Next matchup, Trevor Murdoch taking on Chris Adonis, NWA National Championship match here. Nicely on my boy Chris Adonis, the masterpiece. The masterpiece. Every time I hear the masterpiece, I just be thinking, KC Masterpiece. It is barbecue. Shout out if you remember that from back in the day, man. That was some good shit, man. Good shit. Damn good barbecue. Damn good barbecue. I don't know if those guys are still around. But it was some damn good barbecue back in the day. I actually like this matchup. This actually was pretty damn good. Got to give it up to both of them. Trevor Murdoch. I love Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch is like that underrated hidden gem of a utility guy that you need for your promotion. If you're going to start up a wrestling promotion, he's the guy that you definitely want to hire and make sure that your overall roster is going to be right, as far as tapping into a in-ring general or whatnot. I love Trevor Murdoch. I'm glad that he's still with the NWA this go round here. These guys just brawling it out, man. Nice flurry of punches and everything. I love this one. I love this. This was pretty good. Closing moments of this matchup, Murdoch with a huge right hand to Adonis, followed up by a nice chop. Adonis, though, managed to pull a dirty tactic, get in a poke to the eye, follow that up with a back rake, goes in for a chop, snapmare, turn that snapmare into a chin lock. He's stretching out Murdoch pretty damn good at this point. Does a nice smooth transition, going into a sleeper hold and everything. Murdoch managed to get out of that hold, and they're continuing to go at it. He somehow managed to bait Adonis in the corner a couple of times. Murdoch coming in, a couple of clotheslines. Then he goes to the top. He looked for that top rope maneuver a couple of times. This go round, he went up to the top, did a flying crossbody, covers. Adonis managed to kick out at 2. Adonis then catches Murdoch in the master lock, but Murdoch slides underneath, rolls up Adonis to retain his title. It was a 3 count from there. And from there, what seemed like really good sportsmanlikeship that was going on between both men post match is where shit gets real as Murdoch offers a handshake. Adonis obliges. He accepts the handshake and everything. And as soon as Murdoch turns around, KC Masterpiece just attacks his ass from behind. Officials get in there. They're trying to break it up. Adonis yells at them, "What the hell you guys gonna do? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing." And he pretty much sends them running off. And he continues on assaulting Murdoch. Puts on the master lock. Then does I remember he did like not a fall away slam, but he did like a one-handed slam on Murdoch as well. Just laid him out. Laid that national championship over Murdoch as well as he rolled out of the ring. Very bitter. So obviously, those two guys going to continue on. But pretty good. Pretty good. Adonis, I still am thinking about what was going on with Adonis in WWE. That shit just, it still burns me up to this very day because WWE had a fantastic thing going on there with that man, and sadly his career in WWE, it never recovered even when he came back. Remember when he came back to the WWE? That's the thing that a lot of people tend to forget, is that he actually did come back to the WWE despite all that bullshit that went down the first go round, but it was never the same. The damage had been done. It was like there was no way to reverse it. You can't help but wonder, how would he be in today's WWE? I think bygones truly would be bygones. I don't think the fans, today's majority WWE fans, would even remember that type of shit. But I don't know, man. It just kind of seems like the ship has just long passed. Just time to go on and do other things. He's done pretty well for himself on the independents. I've been able to keep tabs of him here and there, and he's done pretty damn well for himself. Austin Idol, the wrestling legend, he joined Gali and Storm on commentating for the main event match. I gotta be honest with you guys. I heard the first little bit of Austin Idol, and I muted him. Now, normally when I'm watching a wrestling event, it doesn't matter if it's WWE, Impact Wrestling, AEW. For the most part, my TV is always mute. It just helps me be able to focus more on what's going on in the ring. And, sometimes I'll have some music playing in the background while I'm watching the in-ring stuff and everything. But this go round, I found myself looking at this main event match, and I'm seeing Austin Idol, and I'm going, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to lie to folks. I'm not that familiar with Austin Idol. So, all right, let me hear what this guy is about. So I had my TV unmuted for a couple of minutes, and I'm hearing him. And I personally, I didn't care. I didn't care for him. For me, it was just way too over the top. It felt, with regards to the main event, that what he was bringing, for me personally, there was just too much silliness. It kind of felt like he was trying to put himself more over, trying to outdo himself on the commentating. I did hear Gali was, when my TV was unmuted, Gali was pretty quiet. Tony Storm was exceptionally quiet. And for me, when it was just a case of Austin Idol just pretty much hogging up, look, I'm sure that's probably how they always had it set up. I'm only speaking about how it came off on TV for the little bit of time I was listening. I went on ahead and I just put the TV back on mute, and I just pretty much enjoyed the rest of the main event match as it was. Nick Aldis, Aaron Stevens for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I love the fact that leading up into this match, Aaron Stevens had addressed the rumors of what fans were saying on social media, what fans were saying on podcasts, on dirt sheets, talking about he's got no business being in the main event. Why, of all the people, why is this guy fighting Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship? What the hell? Yeah, first of all, very weird that a lot of people were even, because I did see it myself, very weird that a lot of people were actually reacting in that fashion when it should have been, oh, well, this is cool, Joseph Hudson and everything. Yeah, you know what? Okay, sure, why not? I think if I were to try to be devil's advocate and try to understand it from the fans' perspective, they probably wanted for there to be an opponent where, wow, this could be a legit threat to Nick Aldis' championship reign as the NWA World Champion. I think that's probably what they wanted. The ones that really meant well and what they were saying and when they were offering their critique, I think that's honestly what they meant. But, why not? Why not Aron Stevens? As far as I'm concerned, why not? And I gotta say, his entire run in the NWA thus far compared to that lackluster run in Impact Wrestling, where I can only imagine how demoralizing mentally that was for him in Impact, because it just seemed like he was struggling there, really trying to find himself. It was like no passions, everything was gone with that guy. But he's really found his stride in NWA. I love this matchup between these two men, by the way. I gotta say, they fucking rose to the occasion in this matchup. They put on an instant classic as far as I was concerned. And when you hear the name, like, you already know what you can expect when it comes to Nick Aldis, but, Aron Stevens, on the other hand, I'm sorry, not sorry, but Aron Stevens, for me, really rose to the occasion tonight and solidified what a lot of us have personally always felt about him, especially those of us that remember his career just getting white hot in the WWE. There were so many of us, myself included, that would do shows after shows talking about how, man, this guy's got like the genius Lanny Poffo meets Macho Man Randy Savage meets a little bit of Nick Bockwinkel, meets a little bit of the franchise, Shane Douglas, to a certain degree. I mean, he had this nice, interesting breed of personalities all rolled up in one. There were a lot of us back then that was going, man, this guy should be going places. That is one of the best wrestlers that when it comes to taking chicken shit and making salad out of it, bomb ass salad, Aron Stevens, time and time again, was able to make the best out of nothing. So for me, watching him tonight in this match against Nick Aldis, he rose to the occasion, and for me, cemented the fact that no, we really should be taking him more seriously. He is a legit contender in the heavyweight title picture scene. This was a nice, good coming out party for him. I mean, seriously, did anybody think that he actually was going to become the NWA heavyweight champion? I didn't. Stranger things have happened, but I didn't think so. With NWA just coming back, this whole reboot and everything, nah. If Nick Aldis is going to be losing that title, it ain't going to be off the break. You're going to continue to build off of Nick Aldis at least for a couple of more months. You don't make him be having that championship for what is it, like 832, 33, or however, it's past 800 days. You don't have him be champion that long only to lose it. Nah, you're not gonna do that. First pay-per-view of 2021. No, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna tell a bigger story. That's how you're gonna do it. Closing moments of this matchup. Now, you know what? As complimentary as I was of this matchup, I gotta be honest with you. Did not like the finish to this matchup. All right, so closing moments of this one. Aldis tries to roll up Stevens, but gets caught up in the crossface. This was like the second time that he got caught up in this crossface. Aldis tries to roll out, but it only made things worse as Aldis just manages to reach the ropes. Aldis holds on to the ropes, preventing the arm drag, catches Stevens in an inside cradle pin for the win, and retains the championship. So, I mean, at one point in the final moments of the match, you got this cradle that's going on, and it seems like Aron Stevens is going to do it, and then somehow Nick Aldis just uses Stevens' body as the momentum to, rotate. And now Aldis is the one that's pinning Stevens. And it was a lame ass finish. Lame ass finish. I wish it would have been more, what's the right word? I wish it would have been more. Nah, that's a finish. That's the best way I can describe it. I wish it would have been more like that. Post-match, Stevens pretty emotional as Nick Aldis asks him to stand up like a man. He shakes his hand. Then you've got the roster. They come into the ring. Family members for Joseph Hudson, they come into the ring. Stevens is holding the mask of Joseph Hudson, and Stevens grabs a microphone, says, we love you. That's pretty much how the event ended. Nice little emotional little moment right there. But that's pretty much how the pay-per-view went off. You had Camille, you had Pope, everybody that pretty much was on the card for tonight. You had them all pretty much in the ring, and they were performing. This came to us, by the way, from the Atlanta studios, and the fans that were in attendance, no real fans were in attendance, so this pretty much was all about stage crew guys and all that. But they gave a really good atmosphere as far as being fans and all that. It was good. It was just like what you normally have been watching of an NWA show. But it was pretty good. Let's see what you guys had to say one more time as we get ready to wrap up. How long we been on the air now, by the way? Let's see how we've been doing. Yeah, we've been doing pretty good. It's about 56 minutes here. So we got our first WWE pay-per-view match underway, but that's all good. So let's see what you guys had to say about the pay-per-view. I'm going on YouTube. Let's look at the communities tab here over on YouTube. Again, those of you that saw the pay-per-view, I want to know what you guys had to say about it. 20% of you gave it a thumbs down. Meanwhile, we got a tie at 40% for thumbs up and staying in the middle. Again, for those of you that watched NWA Back for the Attack, I want to hear from you guys. Sound off. Go on Twitter or on YouTube and sound off. Let me know what you thought about the pay-per-view. Meanwhile, speaking about Twitter, let's see what you guys had to say on Twitter. Twitter, we got 25% of you that are staying in the middle and 75% of you that are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. So don't spam out. Choose the poll that you feel best represents your thoughts on tonight's pay-per-view for those of you that saw it or maybe plan on seeing it in the next little bit. And we'll definitely revisit this on Monday's RCWR show. But for now, I'm going to say Back for the Attack, thumbs up, without a doubt. Again, if you got the $20 to spare, check out the pay-per-view, because that's pretty much the only way you're going to be able to check it out is through Fight TV. I think maybe your local cable satellite providers, you might want to check with them, because I'm no longer a cable satellite provider. I'm pretty much using YouTube TV as my go-to and everything, but as far as the way it was being advertised, Fight TV was pretty much the only place where you could check out the pay-per-view. So make sure you check it out. Definitely well invested. And then remember, NWA Powerrr returns this Tuesday. It's not going to be on YouTube anymore, because as part of their new deal with Fight TV, all their NWA content, everything's migrated over to Fight TV. If you want to be able to check out NWA Powerrr, you're going to have to pay flat out just $5 a month. And that gets you all the new episodes of NWA Powerrr coming to you. When it comes to the pay-per-view, that's pretty much just a separate thing, all on its own, that you're going to have to pay for. But I mean, even at that, when you stop and think about it, eventually, those Fight rollover dollars, because every time you purchase something, you get a little bit of money that accumulates to the side, and eventually you'll be able to get a free pay-per-view. So I mean, it ain't too bad. It's a nice little trade-off. But we're gonna stick a fork in it. Call this show DONE done. Shout out to our Patreon members. We'll get into the shout outs on our Fast Lane post show since we're coming right back. But shout out to our Patreon subscribers. Love them as always. patreon.com/RCWR Show. Check out bonus audio video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. That's it for now. Taking a little bit of a 2+ hour break. I'll be coming right back here live with you guys to cover the WWE Fastlane pay-per-view event. So tune in for that. That should be a fantastic show. And one more time, if you enjoyed this post-show, please go out of your way. Make sure you haven't done so already. You hit the like, subscribe, click the bell for those notifications so you don't miss out on all future content that comes your way. Lee Sanders wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you all for that Fastlane post show in a little bit. Y'all take